Hello everybody, we're getting ready to do lesson 10.2 of Algebra 2 Math. Part 1, you want Part 2, Part 3, email me here. You want worksheets and note-taking guides and solution PowerPoints and tutoring, email me here. 10.2, translate and reflect trigonometric graphs. Here is our skill sheet, 32-point skill sheet at the end of Part 1. And then we have a note-taking guide here that's got 6 points for that. Teachers, here's your bell work. Write an equation that gives the car's distance d from the base of the bridge as a function of angle theta. And drawing a graph of the function found in Part A, explain how the graph relates to the situation here. Give your students about 5 minutes to do this. Okay, maybe even homework. It might even be a good idea to give this as part of the homework. But we're going to go ahead and solve it here. Here is the graph of the situation here. Distance from the bridge. The angle measure, as your distance changes from the bridge, your angle measure will change for it. Okay, 10.2, translate and reflect trigonometric graphs. You've graphed sine, cosine, and tangent functions. You will translate and reflect trigonometric. Key concept here, translations of sine and cosine graphs. To graph y equals a sine b x minus h plus k, or y equals a cosine b x minus h plus k, a greater than 0, b greater than 0, follow these steps here. Identify the amplitude, the period 2 pi over b, the horizontal shift h, and the vertical shift k of the graph. Draw the horizontal line y equals k, called the midline of the graph. So find the 5 key points by translating the key points of y equals a sine bx or y equals a cosine bx horizontally h units and vertically k units. Step 4, draw the graph of translated points. So in a situation here, graph a vertical translation of 2 sine 4x plus 3. Then identify the amplitude, period, horizontal shift, and vertical shift. So amplitude equals A, which equals 2. So here is our amplitude, there is 2. Horizontal shift is H equals 0. So here is our midline is y equals 3. Here's our midline. Our period is 2 pi over b, so it's 2 pi over 4. So it's pi over 2 is our period. So we have a pi over 2 period. And then we have vertical shift of k equals 3. So k equals 3. Draw the midline of the graph, which is y equals 3. So there is our midline. Find the 5 key points now from that pretext there for drawing this graph. On y equals k, 0 and 0 plus 3 equals 0, 3. So there would be our first point there. And then pi over 4 and 0 plus 3 would be pi over 4, 3. That'd be our next one there. Then pi over 2, 0 plus 3 equals pi 2, 3. That'd be 3 points there. Then our maximum would be pi over 8, 2 plus 3 equals pi over 8, 5. That would be our max there. And then our min would be 3 pi over 8, negative 2 plus 3, so it would be 3 pi over 8, 1. 3 pi over 8, 1, which would be down here. So we got 5 points here, yes? So draw the graph through the key points. So there is our sketch there of the graph. Okay, now this function here, y equals cosine x plus 4, amplitude a equals 1. So our period will be 2 pi over b, which is 2 pi over 1, which equals 2 pi. Our amplitude a is 1. So amplitude is 1, period is 2 pi. And our horizontal shift is h equals 0. Vertical shift is k equals 4. Midline is y equals 4. So here are our key points here for our graph. Pi over 2, pi over 2. Then 3 pi over 2 is 4. And then here would be our sketch here of our graph, reflecting the 5 points here. The maxes would be 0 and 5. So it would be when x equals 0, y would equal 5 up here. And then 2 pi and 5 would be the same thing. 1 plus 4 would be up here. We have a and then our mins will be pi and 3. So pi 3 here. 2 pi over 5, pi. Okay, graph horizontal translation now. Graph y equals 5 cosine 2 times x minus 3 pi. Amplitude, period, horizontal shift, and vertical shift. So our amplitude is A is equal 5, we know that. Horizontal shift is h equals 3 pi. Here's our horizontal shift here. And here is our amplitude. Our period is 2 pi over 2. 2 pi over 2 would be pi. And then our vertical shift of k would equal h. We have no shift. So in this situation here, draw the midline. Because k equals 0, the midline is the x-axis here. Find the 5 key points. So on y equals k, pi over 4 plus 3 pi would equal 0. So 13 pi over 4 is 0. That would be on k. And then 3 pi over 4 plus 3 pi over 0 equals 15 pi over 4. And 0 would be there as well. So our maximums would be 3 pi over 5 here. And then 4 pi over 5, which would be here. Then our mins would be 7 pi over 2 and negative 5. That'd be down here. And then draw a graph through the key points. So here would be the pattern here of this graph here. Okay, graph this function here. 3 sine times x minus pi over 2. Graph the function. Students, this is yours here. You have a cosine function here. Okay, graph this function here. Amplitude A equals 3. Period will be 2 pi over 1. And then horizontal shift will be h equals pi over 2. Here's our horizontal shift. Vertical shift will be k would equal 0. Midline y equals 0. Here's our key points here. On y equals 0. We have pi over 2, 0. Then we have 3 pi over 2, 0. Then we have 5 pi over 2, 0. Our maxes would be pi and 3. Our min would be 2 pi over negative 3. This would be the resulting graph here. 2 pi and then negative 3 would be down here. And then pi and 3 would be up here. This would be a max, this would be a min. Then 3 pi over 2 is 0, pi over 2 is 0. And then 5 pi over 2 would be 0 there too. Okay, that's part 1 of our lesson here. If you want worksheets, you want tutoring, solution PowerPoints, email me here. Thank you very much.